live sooner or later, and it says it's live. So, last night I decided to build out a shopping cart, and so I created a video in which I go through the workflow of designing the operations for a shopping cart, and that flushed out the ubiquitous language for the parameters of the operations that revolve around a shopping cart, such as cart state being either empty or non-empty. And empty shopping cart has a shopper and a cart ID. However, a non-empty shopping cart has, well, items in it. And I just see that there's room for improvement because, well, if I move this non-empty shopping cart to, oh, it's right there. I should just be able to say that it's essentially a empty shopping cart. Um, no, I'm going to leave that. I was thinking about doing this right here, but this looks weird, so I'll keep it like this. And I also define what I believe a transaction would be, which is the transaction ID, the non-empty cart, subtotal, any fees, tax, and ultimately the total. That makes sense to me so far. So that was the shopping cart specification. Now, there's also browsing store. And so if I consider that, then I have this, come here, browse store. Come here. Browse store dot specification. Specification. Okay. And that is going to be our project for right now. And this will have this will be a language.fs, Control Shift A, add a new file. We'll have operations.fs. And for operations, this is a browse store dot operations. Okay. And well, this language is a module that is a browse store dot language, something like that. Okay. Now that we have that for our operations, which is this file right here, we can have our type. And well, what does it mean to browse a store? Well, when you're browsing a store, when I'm in a brick and mortar store, I'm I'm looking at the aisle, right? I'm browsing the aisles. So I think online we usually call this categories, and maybe I'll use categories. So it's browse categories maybe, or just have browse, or maybe it's just view what categories. Well, I don't know yet. I'm just going to do a brain dump without trying to think of the UI or UX. So when you're shopping, ultimately, what you want to do, you want to shop around. So you want to browse, okay? And if you browse, then you're browsing what? Well, when you're in the store, you're browsing through an aisle, right, of a grocery store or a convenience store. Um, in this case, you're browsing categories because you are usually, if you're in the store, you want to view the categories of products. Okay. And and then what? Well, when you request to browse a category, then if it's successful, you're going to get a what? You're going to get a ultimately some products of that category, and that would be non-empty. And an error description. Okay. Which now brings up that there's going to be a shared library that we need to throw common data structures in or common types in. So I'm going to call this core.abstractions. And this core.abstractions is going to be in my foundation folder. Okay. And, I want my foundation folder to be at the top. Uh-oh, shopping cart is the wrong thing. Foundation is over here. Okay. So I have this foundation folder, and I wanted the core.abstractions to go up here. Core.abstractions, name this file common. And over here, I'll say module uh, core. I don't think it'll let me say core.abstractions. I'll just call this common, whatever. And here, I'm going to take from my shopping cart specification the common stuff, the common languages like error description, non-empty, the US dollar, unit of measure. I'm taking that and I'm throwing it over here. And I'm also taking I'm taking the item ID, name, price, description, and I'm throwing that over here as well. Okay. Is there anything else? Cart state fee, subtotal transaction. No, I think that's good. So for the shopping cart, that specification, it's going to have a reference to our core.abstractions. Okay. And so that's happy. I might have to build it. Oh, I have to import that module. So I could say open and it's I'll call it common. And in a way, I just want to say core dot abstractions. And as far as I'm concerned, like I should be able to name a module regardless if it has the same name as the assembly. Like I should. I want to. We can see if that throws me an error. If I bring this up here. And if I hold off on this browse store specification, if I just unload this right now and rebuild the solution, it doesn't know what the error description is. And so that's the operations. So here I want to say open core dot abstractions, and that should be fine. Okay, cool. Now what, Willis? Well, if I return back to my browse store specification, and I go to my operations, I have this browse in which you specify the category that you want to browse, and it's going to return you, if successful, a non-empty list of products. So what's category? Type category is essentially going to be I assume a discriminated union maybe of products. So you have in this case, I'm doing food and uh, beverage. Okay, beverages. Okay, now what? Well, this this notion of a non-empty is something that should be in our core dot abstractions, but it's not. It is located in our language where it's not empty right here. Hold up, that is in there. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so I just need to add a reference to my core dot abstractions, something like that. Okay. Now, I think when you browse, I think I called it an item. And I'm not sure if I moved item to boom, 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 item, blah, 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 blah. This item can go in core dot abstractions. Okay. Now what? So that should build. Items should get recognized. It's non-empty. Non-empty is still not defined because I didn't import my core dot abstractions. So now that is fine. It gets imported. Now what, Willis? Well, I'll tell you. So so far, if I go to this browse store over here, let's go to this. In our operations, I have for browsing a store, I just have a browse operation that takes a category, which could be either a food or beverages category, and it's going to return a result that, if successful, is going to be a non-empty list of items. Okay. Now, maybe I should change items to products, right? Because I have a price on here. And so because I have a price on there, then item probably should be renamed to product because price gives it more of a responsibility, more of a, I don't know, re- responsibility. I think I just said that. So you browse, provide a category, and your result is a non-empty list of products. Okay, now what? Well, is that all? All right, is it just one operation? Um, maybe it's not browse. Maybe it's select. Ah, okay. You select category. Okay. And is there anything else when you browse? Um, well, yeah. You can type or you could define another operation called checkout. Uh, hold up. Does this make sense? Now, I already have something called checkout, I believe. I do. I have the checkout over here that takes your non-empty cart and it produces a transaction. And okay, so if there's already a checkout for, in this case, this is the shopping cart specification. Is there really a need for a checkout for browse? Um, I don't I don't think so. So maybe I just feel like they're two different domains because whenever I'm like on Amazon or any other e-commerce site, I feel like the user experience, and maybe I shouldn't be thinking about the user experience, but I think the user experience can be related to a domain. I think I'm always browsing and then I am checking out. They're like two different stages. Okay. Hmm. This is browse your viewing products. I think I'm just going to leave it like this. There's only one operation on here. Does that really need to be its own domain? Well, for this case, I don't think it should be its own domain, but this could expand as I make more discoveries. For example, when you're browsing, I don't know, there could be. Okay. There could be something where you are inspecting. Inspect what? Products. Okay. And that can give you the result of what? Um, that can give you the result of ultimately a, yeah, I don't know. Like your inspect is like getting the details of something. You're getting the details of a product, right? And well, I feel like that doesn't really do anything. Unless there's like something more to it, like reviews. Okay. Well, I mean, do people really leave reviews on food or beverages? I don't think so. Like, maybe I should just keep this focus and not try to model like eBay or Amazon because it's not that type of application. And well, product already has everything. It has your name, it has your price, and it has your description. So if I go back to my operations over here, you have add, you have remove, you have checkout. So honestly, I don't need this browse store specification. I think the shopping cart is enough for right now. So like if I go to home, this browse store, it's just not needed. I don't think. Um, Hold up. Open this up over here, and I'm just gonna remove this whole folder. It's not needed. And shopping, browse store specification, delete you. You're not needed, homie. Okay. For the operations, there's a select. Uh, call that browse. Okay. That browse is a category, and then you get a result of a non-empty list of products, and that's the function. Okay. So that's been resolved. Add a within the language. Um, that right there. Okay. And if we go back to operations, that's the shopping cart. That's it. Hold up for a second. What else? So we have our shopping cart specification library. There needs to be a test in here. New project. And you can say shopping cart carts dot test. Okay. And I just left that up because it can't be a .NET standard library. I just messed that up. I gotta remove you, start over. But I'm gonna put you on the clipboard, at least the name, and I am going to remove you and go back up here and delete you, and then go back over here and re-add a project, but a different project type. And you, my friend, are supposed to be a um, .NET framework, and I think it's supposed to be a console .NET framework. I think. I'm not sure yet. I'll do library. Doesn't matter. I could change it to console. And then shopping cart test. Okay. And manage NuGet. And for now, I'll go ahead and add a Indian that sounds good. And FS unit sounds better. Come here. And what else do I want to do? That's it for right now. And so we have our module. We'll just call this shopping cart. And then we'll have our open in unit dot framework open FS unit. Okay. Then we can have a attribute that says test. And then we can say let, and then blah, blah, and then something like that equals. And then we can just have over here setup test verify, and then we just say assert dot fail, something like that. And some test. I don't know what the test is. Okay. And we can ignore this for right now. Or to do. Okay. All right. So now what? What else, Willis? So we're defining this shopping cart. All right. Well, you need to have a reference to the shopping cart. You also need to have a reference to core abstractions. There may be a shopping cart domain. That sounds useful. Shopping cart specification. Okay. Now what, Willis? Well, if I build this, will this actually be discovered? And no. Well, so I need to add a method for it to be discovered. So I'll say in unit 3 test adapter. Saw that. Mm-hmm. And let me Control Shift B. Are you going to do anything? No, you're not going to do anything still. Okay, well, let me Alt Enter console application, Control Shift B. Is that going to do anything? Give me an error. Did I get an error last time? Namespace cannot occur. Okay. Okay. Call this shopping carts. Name of it. And this module would be a shopping cart, whatever. Now, this test going to be discoverable. Uh-oh, hold up. No, we have a discoverable test. Oh, shucks. All right, cool. Now what? Well, the unit test is always supposed to serve as compilable documentation. So what does that mean? Well, as I write this test, it's going to contribute to my specification because I'm going to make additional discoveries. So like I need a shopper. Okay, equals. You remember what a shopper was? Well, a shopper has a shopper ID. Okay, shopper ID, and well, what about the shopper ID? Well, it's going to be like a shopper ID, and then in this case, some shopper ID, something like that, maybe. And well, now that we're starting to do all this stuff, now we introduce a new library to our foundation folder called Test API. Oh yeah, I'm going through the motions, man. This is muscle memory for me. Okay, so you have this Test API, yeah, and this Test API is going to have a file called mock. Oh, come here. Yeah, come here. All right, test API. So you have something called a, how do I want to do this? I'm going to say module test API. And then I'm going to have this notion of a let some, let some chopper ID equal that right there. And well, you need to have a reference to my core dot abstractions, and you need to have a reference to my shopping cart dot specification. Okay. Now what? Well, you got to open core dot abstractions. Open core dot abstractions, and are you going to trip on this right here? Yeah, you probably will. Okay. Uh, I like saying test API. What if I have a namespace? No. What if I have a namespace? Test API, and then I have a maybe a module called mock equals, and then I do something like that. Is that okay? And what if I just put a something like that on there? Is that okay? And it still doesn't like it. So test API is of what? .NET 2.0 class library. What's the problem? If I rebuild that specific project, and maybe I can look at the errors in the output window. It's complaining that a NuGet restore to generate this file. I have no clue what this stuff is talking about. No clue what this is talking about. If I get rid of the shopping cart specification, it still wants to talk about this. Okay, if I get rid of all my references in test API, it says NuGet package restore to generate this file. I have no clue what that means. Unable to find the .NET standard DLL in any All right, let's just foundation. What was my project of type? It was a class library.NET standard. That looks fine to me. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to close you because you're tripping on me right now, and I'm going to reopen you. Okay. And then I'm going to try to build you um, without all this. Comment this out, Control KC, Control Shift B to build. And the build succeeded. Okay. Build one more time. Build succeeded. Okay. So now what happens if I try to add a reference? Are you going to trip on me again? Hold up. I'm doing this wrong. If I add a reference to this test API, core.abstractions and shopping cart specification. No, what happens if I try to build? Are you going to trip on me? And it fails. It says shopper ID is not defined. Okay. That's a little bit better. Do that. Okay. Control Shift B. And we're good for right now. All right, Willis. So we have our shopping cart.test. We can have that reference our test API over here. And so then we open up something called open test API dot mock. Can I do that? I wonder if I could, do I really need that apostrophe at the end? Cool, I don't. All right. So then I could say that let shopper equals some, oh shoot, hold up. Keep that, but shopper ID equals some shopper ID, okay? And that's fine. Well, theoretically, maybe we just want to say that let shopper equal some shopper, okay? Or let some shopper equal, and then we can have this right here, okay? And that would be some shopper like that, which is already kind of verbose. So we can delete that and let's update our some shopper to our test API like that. Okay. And so what's the test? All right. Our test should be what we want to test is that we want to test one of our operations. First, we want to test our browse. All right. So we can have a browse food. I don't know. Does it really need to start off with caps? Probably not. And so there is a browse on our shopping cart operations. So open shopping cart operations. Okay. And there's going to be a let results equal browse. Okay. And that's going to take a category, right? And I could say this is going to be beverages. Okay. And that should be okay, right? What does browse take again? Browse takes a category, which I call beverages, and it returns a result. And well, that's the beverages. So that should be okay, right? Over here it says browse is not defined. Maybe you want one of the following. No. Oh, yeah. I only defined the function type. I didn't define the actual function. So that's fine. In our test API, we have a I feel like I should break this down now to language and operations. Ooh, okay. So what I mean by this is maybe I could break this down to operations and then Control Shift A, and this would be language. Okay. And so you have your test API over here. And that's your language, your shopper ID, some shopper. Your operations is going to be open, lang- open language over here. And I'm going to have a let browse, which is going to implement a browse operation equal. And then you can have a fun, and then I don't know what it takes. And it'll be a okay, and it's supposed to be a non-empty list of products. And so that's supposed to be like a head equals, and then it's supposed to be like, some product. And then I can say tail is just empty. And well, let some product equals, and it's supposed to be of type product. So then that is going to be item ID, name, price description. So you could say item ID, which should really be called product ID, equals, and then you can say some uh, item. I'm going to say some product ID. And then it wanted a name, price, description. So you say name equals, and you can say some name, and then description. You could say equals some description. And I think there's a price equals some price, something like that. And well, product ID. Okay. Now what? Well, let's get things on the same page. And so this is called product ID. And really have no clue what product ID, some product ID, some name. We don't have any of that defined. So over here, say let some product, and we'll define what our some product ID is. Let some product ID equals, and it's going to be a product ID of some product ID, and doesn't know what that is because product ID is still listed as item ID. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. And then you have name. So we could say let some name oh, hold up. Let some name equal some name. I don't care what it is right now. And same thing with description. Same thing with price. Some description, price, description, price. Okay. And you need to handle this with some description. And then the price is, I don't know, you could say 1.99, 1.99, and then you can say USD. Okay. Now what? It says that the expression was expected to have decimal, but here it has float. How do you do decimal? F sharp, decimal. How do you do decimal? What am I supposed to use? M? Okay. All right. So then, where's my test at? There's a shopping cart test. There's a, what's this? Test API operations. And browse isn't defined. And well, you should be defined. Am I referencing shopping cart? I am. Why aren't you being recognized? Because I didn't import shopping cart dot operations. Okay. Browse just takes one argument, which is category, and it returns a result of some product. Okay. Some product, it's not defined yet. Go to language, and well, some product is right here. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Maybe you want the following. No, this is it. So open shopping cart. Oh, module mock. Uh, the, 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 uh, this is module operations. And here it's language. Okay, so that now gets resolved. And then over here, test API language, or we could say test API operations maybe. And so everything builds, hopefully. Okay, so now what? Well, I just want to write this first test. So you say browse beverages, and maybe we want to handle that. Maybe we want this some product to be some beverage. So we can say that this is going to be some beverage. And we know that sooner or later we're going to have some food. And that's okay. Go back over here. And for the description, we want to have some beverage ID, some beverage name, some beverage description. Okay. And so then we can change all this to some beverage ID, some beverage name, some beverage description, some beverage price. Okay. Now we could then take this here, copy paste, and instead of some beverage, we do some food. And instead of beverage over here, we do some food. And now it's easy. And over here, we instead of beverage, we say some food. That was easy. All right, now what? If we go Control Shift B, if we go back to our operations, we now have a some beverage, and I mean, if we really wanted to, we can say, X, and then we can say something like, um, if X equals beverage, then do this, which I don't even think I should do that. Honestly, it should be something like, it should be something like this. I should just be able to say function, get rid of this X over here, and I should just be able to say um, beverage beverages, and then just say this, and then have food, and pretty much have the same thing. Oh, shoot, pretty much have the same thing, and it should just be straight, and it is straight. So then we just have some food like this. Okay, and that's how we do things. Okay, Control Shift B. Now what? Blah blah blah. Now what? So you have this result, and you want to browse beverages, right? And so then we can say that we should be able to say that remember that this is going to return the discriminated union of okay or error, hence the result type. So we could say function, and then over here we can say if it's error, then we just fill it, all right? And if it's okay, then we just need to make sure that we really don't have to do this step. If it's okay, then maybe we can go through the ropes and say that our x dot head dot um, product ID is going to equal some beverage ID. And so you could say like should equal some beverage ID. So then we can have our open over here and then language. But do we not already have language on here? We have our test API dot language. That's what we're missing. Okay. Something like that. And so we have since I want to be cool, then I could just do something like that. Beverages dot browse function error, okay. And then, call this B for beverage dot head dot product ID should equal some beverage ID. Control Shift B and have this stuff run. Control Shift B, have this stuff run every time I build. And are you going to run? Do I literally have to click you with my pointer? And it's green, okay? And I mean, to get a free test, I like free things. You have browse, oh shoot, this is browse beverages. And this is browse food. And so over here, you can say food. And you don't need to have this test over here, comment, or you don't have to have that. You don't have to have that over there. And then we get 2 free tests. Well, we get an additional test for free. And so that's going to be green as well. All right. And no, it's not green. Why is it not green? Well, because it is some food ID, not some beverage ID. Like that, Control Shift B. Oh yeah, maybe you want to make that a F now. Yeah. And that should be green. Yeah, hey, it's green. Okay. All right, so what's been accomplished so far? Well, we got some tests in here, and we're fleshing out the logic for this shopping cart um, specification. And so far, in addition to what we had earlier of add, remove, and checkout, we actually added a browse in here. That's only realizing that, well, it probably doesn't make sense to have a browse domain. We just add browse for our shopping cart. Specifically, you browse a category and you get a list of products that are non-empty. Yeah, okay. Anything else for right now? Yeah, but I'll do it in another video. I'm about to take a break. But just at the end of this movie, right? We're at the end of the movie right now, so we want to show a preview of what the sequel is going to look like, and it's going to be this add product to cart. That's what it's going to be, and well, we know that the browse in here. We'll also have a remove product from cart. And anything else? Well, maybe we should be specific. Remove beverage from cart, remove food from cart. Okay. And just get things for free for right now. Um, this is food over here. Uh-oh. This is food over here. This is beverage over there. Things for free. And right now, all this stuff is going to be ignored. Ignore. Okay. Ignore why? Well, because it's to do. Up here, it's the same thing. Come here, Willis. Okay. Up here, it's the same thing. Come here, Willis. Okay. Up here, it's the same thing. Come here, Willis. Okay. Control Shift B to build a solution. Discover my new ignore tests. Discover my new ignore tests. And these are my new tests that have been discovered, but they're currently ignored. And it looks like the shopping cart operations isn't really doing anything. Or did I not? Yeah, whatever. And yeah, that's it right now. So when I do Control and Mo, it collapses everything. And yeah, whatever video that I do, I'm going to get this stuff to go green because I love making things go green. And that's it. So I'm hanging up right now. Bye. Peace. Adios.